Hey everyone, it's the Prodigy and your new Ring of Honor Women's World Champion, as well as the youngest Women's Champion in Ring of Honor history. And you're listening to Battleground Podcast. Make sure to follow me on all my socials, ROK_ROKC on Instagram, the Rok-C _ on Twitter, and I have two new shirts on ringofhonorshop.com, and also I have two shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. So go ahead and support and buy my merch and tune in.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Battleground Podcast. Real quick before we get into the interview, because I'm super excited about this one, make sure you grab some of our merch. We got it right now available for you at whatamaneuver.net. We'll put a link in the description below. Also, please make sure that you're following us on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram is Battleground Podcast. Twitter is Battleground IHR. We're going to go ahead and bring in my tag team partner. My man Eli's here. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
that was it. Just I don't know.
No, I mean, our last episode was the Hall of Famer Gail Kim, and now we have, I mean, not only one of the brightest stars coming up, but now a world champion. So,
but we can't say that the streak we can't have the accolade saying that we helped her get this title, because this is the first time she's been on the show. So let's bring in our guest. Your new Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Rok-C, is on this show. Rok-C.
Hello.
How are you? How's things going?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you guys?
We are great. Glad to have you on. I bet your luggage is a little bit heavier going to the airports now that you got a little bit of new hardware to carry with you.
Just a little bit. I'm like,
you're kind of like, yeah, let me grab that little dolly over there so we can carry this. No big deal. There's not a championship just kind of sitting here for me. So no big deal. So let's go back. Let's get to the obvious thing. Let's talk about it. Let's get it out of the way. What does it feel like to be the first current and defending Ring of Honor Women's Champion?
There's like so many emotions that go into this. Like, it's just the fact that I've been dreaming of becoming a professional wrestler since I was like 10 years old. And I didn't expect to like accomplish as many things as I've accomplished by now at 19. I always knew like I would kind of turn my dreams into reality, but I didn't think that along the way I'd be like making history in so many different ways, and being the first Ring of Honor Women's World Champion and then being the youngest champion in their history. It's like my mind is blown.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you go back and look to it, and like you said, you've been doing this for a while. I mean, you started at 13, and then you went to high school, and you started getting on a Greyhound bus to go train with Booker T, and I mean, it seems like all the sacrifices you made. I'm pretty sure that doing wrestling training, you missed out on a lot of high school things like prom, maybe graduation, Friday Night Lights, and all that other stuff. Is this kind of one of those things that you look back and be like, it was totally worth missing out on some of those things?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that that's kind of the hard part, and that's kind of the part that like not a lot of people see, like the things that go on behind the scenes. And I started really young, and I thank my mom 1,000 times for being so supportive. And of course, she always was like 100%, yeah, like you want to be a wrestler? Okay, like we'll do it. But at the same time, it was also like very scary for her, because it's like she's kind of, it's not just like, oh, like yeah, my kid's in cheerleading, or oh yeah, my kid's in baseball. It's like, yeah, my kid's just in like this big industry that's kind of crazy and kind of full of grown adults, and she's like 15. I know for sure like she got it from my family. Like, hey, like what are you doing? But
right.
You know, she knew how much like wrestling meant to me, and how like determined and how much like I loved it, and she was just like I think in that moment, like her coming in the ring with me and just like all that emotion, her crying, like it was just like I think like a sense of relief for her of like, okay, like all of those hard times and like everything that we went through like together,
Mhm.
it just it was so worth it because in that moment it was like, okay, like everything that she dreamt of is like is coming into fruition. So it's
Right.
really cool.
And you gotta, like you said, I mean, being there watching the show, watching you win it, having your parents there to cheer you on, and then they see you watch that. The question I have for you, and if you want to peel back the curtain, did you know going into that night that you were going to win, or was it more of a surprise during the match? It was like, hey, you're gonna win, but you didn't tell your parents.
I did not tell my parents did not know anything.
They're
So
like, why
yeah,
did
That's
you
the
not
best.
tell me this?
Yeah, that's the
yeah,
best.
they were complete. And I remember telling them like the day before. I was like, cause I had no idea, and I told them I'm like, don't be like disappointed if I lose. And my mom's like, what is wrong with you? Like, we're not gonna be disappointed if you lose. Like, we're so proud that you're even like here. Like, this is
Mhm.
crazy. And I think she's had that mindset since I started. And like, for me, just like having my first match, my very first match at 14, like she was there, and she's the one that I had like this T-shirt on that said Rok-C. She's the one that made that for me,
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
yeah, and so she's awesome. Like from like she's the one that helped me come up with my wrestling name at like 11 years old, and so like my mom is such a big part of my whole story, and the fact that I could kind of like was able to share that big moment with her was very special.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's awesome when like you have that family support because especially well, I think just kids in general, but especially for those that like wrestling, a lot of times the parents are, why don't you go to college? Why don't you get a real, so to like have someone support you every step of the way, that's got to mean even more to it.
Yeah, I'm so grateful.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask, you had mentioned, your age, and also, now the youngest. I think you're the youngest Ring of Honor champion of all time, not just women and men. But anyways, do you think going into the tournament, do you think your age was a disadvantage for you or an advantage? Because I think a lot of people kind of automatically think, oh, 19, yeah, she's green. She's had a couple, do you think you kind of use that to your advantage, thinking people might underestimate you, or like what was your approach with that?
Yeah, I think since I kind of like broke into the business, I always had that problem of like people not really taking me seriously or people kind of underestimating me just because of my age. But
Mm.
I think that like that is complete BS because I feel like as though regardless of how old you are or what you look like or whatever the case may be, I think like that has nothing to do with like how much heart and dedication someone has. And that's exactly how I got to the point of where I am right now in my career is that like every time someone told me no or every time someone said you can or anytime someone was like no like she's whatever she'll grow out of it, I was like no,
Right.
like, and it kind of like lit a fire in me to just kind of like not really not so much like prove people wrong but kind of prove myself right.
Yeah.
Right.
And like I looked up to Paige so much just because she kind of had the same story and she's kind of who inspired me to kind of like kickstart my wrestling career was
Yeah.
like she started when she was like 14 or 13
Yeah.
I believe, and she did so much and accomplished so much and I was like oh like I can totally do it.
Hmm.
For
And
sure.
and to this day it was kind of like it's kind of hard. I guess it is a disadvantage, but also an advantage because, like, I think having all these people kind of tell me that I couldn't, it kind of like, especially being so young, it kind of messes with like your mind a little bit, and it's like, like, are they right? Like, and it was hard to kind of like believe in myself. But I think like uh, things that are like I've accomplished along the way have kind of every time it kind of like makes me stop and think and like wait like look at what you're doing, like you're doing it, and regardless of like anything that anyone had ever had to say like I'm holding the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship
Yeah.
right now. So it's like, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at what I got that you don't have, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And we were talking before we got on camera. The last interview we had was the legend Gail Kim, and just seeing, obviously now we're getting to a new generation with you. I think it's kind of goes double for girls because not only do people look at wrestling in a certain way, blah blah blah, but then girls, why don't you do cheerleading, or why don't you, and so there's that extra kind of stigma. I think a lot of people still associate women's wrestling with like, the Attitude Era and the panties match and all. It's like, no, no, no. These girls are legit. They go. And so I think that added probably more to it just because you were a girl, so unfairly, of course, but
Yeah, for sure.
So there was a lot of amazing women featured in the tournament, including former guests of the show, Mandy Leone, Angelina Love, Alcee Kay. Was there anyone in the tournament that you were nervous to face if you ended up in the same bracket as them?
Honestly, it was Angelina Love.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it was either like her or Mandy, just because they're not only did I have the pressure of like, okay, she's like the vet of the vet in this
Yeah.
division. And like, so I think stepping into the ring with her and then how much experience she has, and like she's 7-time world champion, and then also has a little bit of a history of like not wanting to play by the rules. So it was kind of like, okay, in this match, I have like all of this to worry about. She started wrestling before I was even born. So there's another thing added to that. And then it was like, okay, I'm going to have to like have eyes in the back of my head, because I like I, I had already beaten Sumie Sakai. I had already beaten Quinn McKay, and it was like, I'm not gonna come this far just to come this far. And it was like, I need to make sure that no matter what happens, like I have to surpass Angelina Love because
Yeah.
it
That's
was
the
like,
goal.
I don't know if Mandy's gonna come out. I don't know if she's gonna try to like do so. I don't know. But yeah, I think that was probably the person I was most nervous about getting in the ring with.
And besides being a multi-time world champ, she's known for having a mean side. So
She
right
doesn't
there
like to
with you.
play fair sometimes, so
Yeah,
I
right there
could
with you.
see that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, sort of a related question. In your personal opinion, what do you think was your best match in the tournament?
Whew. I think my match with Sumi, I was very excited. Since I started like kind of I think when I was about like 14, 15, I discovered sorry, stop
It's
it.
a puppy. Sorry,
It's a puppy.
ADD kicks in.
um, one second. Here you go. Play with this. um, I fell in love with like Japan wrestling, and I was like, I want to go to Japan and train in Japan and go to Stardom or Marvelous or whatever it may be. But I was like, I want to go to Japan. And so when I found out I was gonna wrestle Sumi, I was like, oh crap. like
Whoops.
Yeah.
like sorry, but I was like, not only is she like, she was the first woman of honor champion. She won that tournament, so there was a little bit of like pressure. And then
Right.
it was also like, oh my god, I'm gonna learn so much from this match, regardless of what happens, because like Sumie Sakai is like, I mean, at least to me, I think she's a legend.
Yeah.
So I was pretty excited about that match, and that was like, I think that's one of the best matches I've had like in my career, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
And
That's a very good answer.
and it's one of those ones like you sit there and you wanted that match to happen and you wanted to train over there, and all of a sudden you get that influence coming into the match. Is there anything that you took away from during that match with her? Like, did she give you kind of like beforehand, did she give you any pointers? Did you kind of say, hey, I'd really like to do this, or can we try this? Kind of peel back that curtain a little bit further for everybody.
Yeah, she definitely did. Like I said, she I've never been to Japan, and she has. She's
Right.
so many times there, and so like she definitely had a lot of like little pointers. little things that she kind of took from Japan and kind of kind of gave me. Yeah, I was beyond excited to work with her, and like I said, like I learned so much just from that match alone.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, there's kind of a popular subject among wrestling fans in the wrestling community these days is this forbidden door, as we do the finger quotes. And Ring of Honor has always had a good relationship with other companies, including New Japan and NWA. Are you open to defending your title outside of ROH? And if so, who are some competitors you would love to compete against? Maybe put that title up against.
Yeah. So I am actually going to defend it on the Indies for the first time next weekend against Killer Kelly. At New
We
Texas
had a
Pro.
question about that, so that's good that you
I think
mentioned
she
that.
knows our questions. I think she's
Yeah,
seeing everything
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I've never wrestled Killer Kelly, so I am so freaking excited. And then the Ring of Honor title is on the line, so that's an even like bigger deal. And I'm super excited. But yeah, like Maria mentioned it at the pay-per-view before the match, like there's no door here. And whether it be the AEW Women's Champion, whether it be the Knockouts Champion, whether it be at NWA, like whoever wants a shot, like they got it.
Good, yeah.
I mean,
Fighting and defending champ?
Can you imagine? Like, just think if you have like the Penta. Let's say Rok-C and Britt Baker, Rok-C or Camille. I mean, I would put up all my money for those two matches. Rok-C Deanna, because she's got 2 championships now.
Yeah.
So I think Rok-C might want to add a little bit more, some metal to her duffel bag when she comes, because I mean, Deanna's got those 2 titles. So
I have 3 titles right now.
Oh
yeah. What is are you so where you're fighting Killer Kelly? Are you the champ of that as well?
Yes.
Is that New Texas? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's at New Texas Pro.
So you're New Texas Pro, Ring of Honor, and then what's the other one?
And Sabotage War of the Genders champion.
Okay.
The last person that held that was Shotzi Blackheart.
Okay, that's where I've heard that name. Okay,
so Roxy's about to be the belt collector then.
It looks like it. Just walk into NWA with 3 belts, like all right.
Just kind of be like, I'm here. I'll take all the other ones.
I'm trying to get that Reality Wrestling Championship back too, so I want all the belts.
Well, here's the thing, because you've already got some titles and you're wanting some titles back. Everybody that has been on this show has gone on, and we've talked about this numerous times. You can go down the track record. Everybody that's been on this show has gone on to win some sort of title. Literally, we had Chris Dickinson on 2 days before he won the ROH tag team titles, and he went on to win it. We had PCO on, and then the next couple of days after he was on the show, he went on to win the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship.
Josh Woods just beat Grisham for Pure.
He was on 6 months ago, and I called it on the show.
We talked about it on the show. Yeah, so we have a good track record. So.
I called it on the show 6 months ago. I was like, Josh, Gresham's going to slip up, and you're going to get that ROH Pure title. And then what happens? Title changes on Death Before Dishonor. And, of course, you get the title at Death Before Dishonor, and we're going to make sure you get all these other titles because you're in good hands with us.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So this is a question about the trainers. What did Dega and Booker T say when they found out you were the new Ring of Honor Women's Champion?
So Booker T was like, so literally right after my match, I think he was like, I think he was watching the match, because right after he made a post saying how he was super extremely proud, and which means so much to me, just because like I started at Reality Wrestling at such a young age, and he was kind of one of the first people that kind of saw me and was like, okay, I see something in her. And I'm gonna make sure that she goes far, and he helped me so much, whether it be like just like believing me enough to put the championship on me at 18, like that's a pretty big step, you know. And so I appreciate him so much, and him and Charmel like have helped me grow so much, not only as like a wrestler but as a person in this industry, and like I'm super grateful for that. And it's funny because so a few weeks ago I had a show for Booker T at Reality Wrestling, and I had a little bit of like a mishap. And So I wasn't aware of like the match that was before me, and I was like changing, and I was like, wait. I asked him, wait, can you check like how many matches until I'm on? And I'm like changing, and I'm like putting on my boots, hadn't tied them yet, and they run in and they're like, hey, your music's hitting,
Oh
and
no.
I was like, haha, you're lying. They're like, no, your music's on, and I was like,
Oh,
oh my god, and I started like going 30,000 miles per hour.
Oh
Like, I'm like,
no.
oh my god. Booker walks in and he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh. And he was pretty mad, pretty mad. They ended up like doing a promo, and within like a minute and a half, I had those boots on and I ran out and was like, I'm here, guys. And like after the match, he was furious. And after the match, he came to me. He's like, "Okay, you redeemed yourself. That match was pretty
yeah.
good. That match was pretty good." But they sent me a message, and the producer Kevin, which is he works very closely with Booker. He sent me a message and he's like, "Hey, just got off the phone with Booker. He wants you to know that he is so extremely proud of you. Like since you first walked into reality of wrestling, you've grown so much, and we're more than proud." And he's like, "But he's still gonna yell at you when you're messing up." So
Yeah.
and I'm like, "No, yeah, please
And
yell at me."
and
But
Reality
yeah,
Wrestling just signed a TV deal, so they'll be on
yes,
the bunch of
yes, so
TV. I think
excited.
50 markets or something. So that's a big deal
For
for you
sure.
guys. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm so excited.
So we kind of asked a couple people online and asked if they want to submit some fan questions, and our good friend Keith from the Mixed Tag podcast writes, most of us grew up with wrestling idols, favorites. What should kids who might look to you as a wrestling role model know, and what would you want to pass on to them?
Whew. There's so much. I think like just what I had a really hard time with was kind of believing in myself, and I've said that before. But I think confidence is like so important in wrestling, and just like kind of always keeping in mind your why. That was one of the first things my first trainer told me was like, throughout your journey, it's gonna be so hard because wrestling is so hard. And it's not just like a on your way up. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a roller coaster. You're gonna have times where you feel like up here, and then you're gonna have times where you're just like, dang, maybe I should just give up. Like I don't see anything happening. Maybe I should just stop. But as long as you remember your why, and my why was like that 10-year-old little girl that was like in her room coming up with gear and names and just like dreaming. Like I knew that, like just how I said before, I wasn't gonna come this far just to come this far, and I want to make her proud. And even like during this whole tournament, it was like no matter what outcome happens, like 10-year-old me would be so proud that I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think that throughout my career, that has kind of helped me so much, is just remembering why I started and kind of like having like that tunnel vision of like, okay, like I know what I want my dreams to look like, and I'm not going to stop until I make them happen.
Right.
And I think that's super important.
That's
For sure.
pretty good advice. Okay, so this goes back to what we discussed earlier. So, obviously, you have an incredible challenge coming up soon, Killer Kelly. I mean, what do you do to get ready for a fight that's obviously going to be physical?
Whew, I feel like you just always have to stay ready rather than like kind of get ready for a specific match. And that's kind of like what I like to do. I think having so many reps, like even like while I was doing the tournament, I was still wrestling on the indies, and I was still having matches like almost every weekend. And just because I think that that helps me so much with like reps, and
Mhm.
and it helps me stay ready for like these big opportunities that come, whether it be Ring of Honor or whether it be fighting Killer Kelly, which, like I said, I've never stepped in the ring with her, so I don't
Yeah.
really know exactly what to expect. But I also really like to study my opponents. So when I know who I'm wrestling, I'll like go on YouTube and I'll just watch
That's
as
the way to
many
do it.
matches
Study the
that I
tape.
can. Yeah, because then I'm like, okay, I think I can. If I see like kind of what they're doing in the ring, I'm like, oh, I know what you're about to do, and kind of like, you know.
Right. Now that you are the defending Ring of Honor Women's Champion, is there somebody in that locker room that you are wanting to put that title up against? Are you going to be like a champion where it's an open challenge and anybody can step up? Or are you wanting to go ahead and say, I want so and so?
I think right now, I know that holding that championship means that I have like a giant target on my back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware. But I think I've been underestimated for so long, and now holding that championship also means that like it's okay to say like I'm one of the best.
Oh
And
yeah, it validates it. Yeah.
I don't want people to underestimate me anymore, and I hope that like having this as proof, this championship as proof, kind of shows people like, okay, I'm not gonna underestimate this girl, and I want to see who like wants to step up. So yeah, it's kind of like an open challenge. Like whoever wants a shot at this title, like
Bring
I'm
it.
open.
There it
Yeah,
is.
absolutely. You mentioned earlier, Paige is one of your favorites, and there's been rumors she may be making a return to the ring, and she posted a couple days ago. I think it just said January, and so there's kind of speculation going on that she may be kind of coming back like Daniel Bryan was able to, and Edge and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I'm sure you would love to tangle with her. Is there anybody else that maybe you liked growing up who's still fighting you would love to get in the ring with, or we'd try not to say bucket list, but I mean, is there like a list of people where you're like, I gotta fight them before I'm done, I gotta fight them?
Yeah, my biggest inspiration of all time was AJ Lee, and she's retired, but
Mm-hmm.
you never know. CM Punk's back, so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe eventually, I don't know.
I
But
never thought he'd come back, so what's stopping her,
yeah, yeah, like she's definitely been on my bucket list, and ever since like I started training to become a wrestler, I actually met her once as a fan, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna start training. Do you have advice? And she was Divas champion at the time, and she's like, oh, I'll keep this warm for you. So I
That's
was
awesome.
like, oh, I was always hoping to get in the ring with her, but who knows? It may happen. Wrestling is wild, and
Yeah.
like you never know what can happen with wrestling. But
Well, and I'm sure
I
she doesn't have a lot of current champions saying, it'll be just, Joe Blow, oh, I want to fight AJ Lee. And she's like, yeah, forget it. But if, the brand new current defending Ring of Honor World's champion, that may be like,
right, I'm
okay,
like, hey
yeah.
AJ, come
Let
on.
Yeah,
me
yeah.
see. Let me see.
I'm not fighting for the Divas title anymore, but you want to fight for this one,
Right. Um, but Ruby Soho is one person that I want to wrestle so freaking bad,
Oof, that
and
would be a good,
I got so
difference
excited
in
when I saw
styles.
that she was on AEW, because I was like, oh, I don't know how like AEW contracts work and whatnot, but I have seen some AEW people kind of wrestle elsewhere, so who knows?
I mean,
But
there's that forbidden door. A lot of the talent went on Mickey James's NWA Empower. There's been some that have showed up in Impact Wrestling, and it seems like this door is just a revolving thing that anybody could walk through. And
Yeah, there's only
like,
one company up north that's not playing with everyone else, and everyone else seems to be playing playing
yeah,
nice with everyone. So,
I mean, I'd pay to see Rok-C and Ruby Soho go at it.
heck yeah,
Just go ahead and put that out there in the universe right now.
yeah.
Where, speaking of universe, there's the Twitterverse and everything else. Where can people keep up with you online? Where's the best place?
So I'm usually pretty active on Instagram and Twitter mostly. So my Instagram is _Rok-C _ROKC, and then my Twitter is the Rok-C _.
Nice.
Cool.
There it is. And real quick before we let you go, is there anything you want to say to anybody that is watching this or listening to this right now?
Especially the
Uh,
fans that followed you in the tournament.
Yeah, no, yeah. I want to thank the fans 1,000 times. Just for like, I think just how you guys said it, seeing like a 19-year-old girl, you're kind of like, yeah, whatever. She'll be out by the first round. But no, like so many people kind of like stuck with me and kind of believed in me, and that for real helps me believe in myself. Just having like that little like team behind me kind of like pushing me is kind of like a okay, like I got this. And so I want to thank everyone that supported me, whether it be from when I was like 17-year-old sensation, or whether it be the beginning of the tournament, or even if it was like second or third round, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Hey, whenever you came in, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, and I see you.
Well, Rok-C, we really do appreciate you coming on, especially being a champ. Most champs don't ever want to come and spend time with us peasants down here. So we are very thankful to have you on the show today, Rok-C. Thank you so much.
No, yeah, thank you guys for having me.